Welcome everybody. We are so glad that everybody's here today on the Infinite Wisdom interview series. This is a place to expand your mind, to stretch your horizons and see the vastness of possibilities the universe has to offer you. We created a community here of thousands of brilliant individuals, all of them with the hopes and desires to build a better world for ourselves, our children, and their children's children. So tell us where you're tuning in from. So drop a hint in the comments, what a landmark, a city, what country you're from. You know, we have a vast global community, including our guests today, of spiritually minded souls, and really want others to know that, you know, you're not alone. There's lots of people that are in the same community, the same mindset as you are. And to realize how many millions are out there that think and feel the same way. So today's guest is an amazing human being. Linda Ho is a best-selling author. She's a spiritual mindset coach, NLP trainer, and my favorite, a breathwork practitioner. Her journey started on her own healing quest after many years of trial and error. That sounds familiar. So she was introduced to ancient as well as modern tools, and she learned how to heal herself, how to break old family programming and patterns, all which allowed her to create her own dream life. And now she uses all these tools to help her clients all over the world to heal and become who they truly are. If you would ever get to meet her, she would tell you that deep down within you is a gift that is awaiting to be unlocked and released into the world. And like us, she believes you can have it all. And the only thing standing between you and your dreams is your mind. And she's the founder of the Abundant God Goddess Club and Breathlicious, I love that term, Breathlicious, where she serves women and men all over the world, creating a life of their own design using their sexual energy. Linda, thank you. And I know it is early in the morning there. So we really appreciate you setting that alarm clock for a little earlier just to be on the show. Welcome, welcome.
I'm so grateful to be here. It's such a pleasure. And yeah, I'm so excited to be part of you guys' amazing series.
Well, we met you through the same group, the Expansion Alchemy. And we met you through there, and we've seen your work and love what you're doing with them. So tell us a little bit about yourself, besides what I just said, but tell us who you really are. What was that journey that you were on that brought you to this point in time?
So yeah, I'm also a mother of two. I have two little ones, and a husband, and I have actually a quite Western medicine background. But what really started my journey, it was pretty much doing my education as a nurse as well. My dad he was manic depressive, and in the beginning, no one really knew what was going on with him. You know, he was really nice, then he was really depressed, and he was always telling everyone he wants to kill himself. And then the next moment he was like this complete jerk, egoistic, and he was just like, well, he is above everyone and everyone's just stupid, and I was like, what's going on here, And it wasn't until I got older that first we discovered, okay, he was bipolar, but because I was daddy's girl when I was little, I kind of soaked up that pattern where I was picking people like him, and he was not someone you want to necessarily get married to. He was cheating on my mom. He was lying. He was never really there for us. He was pretty much just a workaholic, and that's really all he was doing. So from a provider perspective, it was good, and he certainly broke like the pattern and the pattern around poverty, from his line. But yeah, obviously it became quite an urgent matter to heal, because after 3 months I would always discover, shit, I met my dad again, in a different form. And I was like, okay, I got to do something about this. And I think it wasn't until I was 20, I was traveling, and that's when it became really clear. And I thought, okay, you know what? I have to forgive him. I have to forgive him for all the horrible things he did to me, for all the horrible things he said to me. And I remember I was at a book signing from Ina Segal, The Secret Language, Language of Your Body. And she asked for like a participant, and I lifted my hand and she picked me. And she said, okay, what do you want to do? And I was like, I want to forgive my dad. And then I just started bursting out crying. And she was like, are you sure you're ready for this? And I was like, yeah, I think so. Yeah, I want to do it. And that was really the start of the journey, really, to really learn and let go of layer after layer after layer. And really learning those significant messages and lessons about myself, really breaking free from that, unworthiness. And yeah, there was almost this, I was trying to bend myself to fit into someone else's. Like, I wasn't even thinking what I deserve, what I need. I was more like, okay, I bent myself completely so that person gonna like me. No matter what, they're gonna like me. And I was so obsessed with being liked, I was like this total people pleaser. And little by little, I was like, shit, okay, there's one component here, which is constant, right? That's me. I'm the one attracting those people. So eventually I was really thinking like, okay, what is it within me that I attract this? I bring this into my life. And it was really the unworthiness, me lowering my standard. Another thing was also, my group of counsel were all divorced women, heartbroken divorced women. I don't know, eventually I was like, yeah, they won't know how to find true love and how to get there. And I started really because I was doing a lot of business education and I kind of tipped my toes into network marketing, and there's so much self-development in network marketing, right? Like they teach you so much, and that made me really aware. So I used all the business rules and applied them to relationships, And I was like, okay, who are like people who have a really good relationship? So I kind of surround myself with people who have a good relationship. I start listening to them. Like, what do you think about this? I met this guy. What do you think? And I started really finding counsel in people who had a good relationship. Yeah, and then little by little, let go of layers. And yeah, went to Peru, stayed for a week, did an ayahuasca retreat and stayed with shamans in the Amazon. And that was really like the last bit where everything was just, there was one particular relationship I was holding on to. And that journey burned that relationship, like, pretty much burned the street free. Because I think it was something karmic, and we had some karmic contracts because, the way we met was so weird. And I was kind of holding on to that because it was so mysterious. And so, it was like, it was meant to be, we had to meet in this lifetime. But I really think it was just karmic. We had to go through some karmic stuff. We had to release some stuff. We had some contracts. And once that was gone and I knew, okay, I had this clarity, what I wanted, what I deserved, and that I won't settle for anything less anymore. And that was it.
So you said that you've got a Western medicine background, and then you go and you do ayahuasca. Usually when you do ayahuasca, there's it breaks a lot of those paradigms, and what comes from that is, at least in my experiences, is a lot of ancient wisdoms and how we can apply them to modern tools. How was that for you, and what was that experience, and how's it helped your healing process?
Like working with a plant just gave me so much clarity. And already years before, when I was actually doing my nursing studies, I got really sick. And I was sick for 3 years. I got chronic sick, and I went from one specialist to the other. They would send me to this specialist and this specialist, and no one could really help me. And eventually I went to this Chinese doctor, and she changed my diet and gave me the most disgusting herbal tea. And that actually, yeah, but
There's
it worked.
no way this can help me.
Yeah.
Was it worse than ayahuasca?
It was close. It was close.
Okay.
Just that ayahuasca was so much thicker to drink. Hers was more liquid, but it was just brown and barky looking, and
Yeah.
it was very similar, actually, thinking about it.
That's because it
worked.
was bark.
Yeah, some kind of bark for sure, for sure. But it helped, it helped, and it was amazing. And she made me really aware of food. So before I even went to the Amazon, I knew already about we either feed disease or we're curing it with what we're putting into our mouth. And what, because on the end, I put myself through a food detox and a particular diet where I was eating, mainly really vegetables, protein, and that's it really, and water and herbal taste, no spices, just fresh herbs, and really creating, making the body more alkaline.
Nice.
And doing that for 8 weeks healed all my issues. So very, even before I went to the Amazon, I already knew that, wow, there's this whole other world Western medicine doesn't even want to look at, still pretends maybe a little bit influence, but not really the vast amount it has, right? Like, I mean, I'm always shocked when you go somewhere where you have, a cancer patient or people really sick, and then they have like muffins there, like, muffins and sugary
stuff. It's crazy.
I'm like,
load them up with sugar, yeah.
The only thing worse than airline food is hospital food. You just like, really? It blows my mind.
Yeah, sometimes like, so you're really trying to help them there to go faster down.
Yeah.
But, I think people become a little bit more open around that topic.
Mm-hmm.
There is, I see a change, but slow, very slow.
Yeah.
But
I mean, we see it's happening. I mean, Gary himself is a vegetarian, and and he's in phenomenal shape. He just, very much into his body and taking care of himself and eating right, myself as well. And, but it's sad. I think that's the best word that I can use, is sad to see other people who they just don't understand. And to a degree, it's not their fault. This is how they were taught as children. This is how they were brought up. This is what relatively, a lot of doctors are saying the same thing. I mean, I've seen, doctors, or I've known doctors and such. I don't really see doctors. But, it's just like, you don't look healthy at all, and yet you're going to show somebody how to be healthy. It is that practice what you preach type of thing. And so there really is this disconnect, as you were saying. And a lot of it starts with food. Almost all of it does.
Yeah.
And your environment, and what you're putting into your body and allowing around your body, especially in this day and age. I mean, I was listening to something yesterday, as a matter of fact, where they've been talking about all the things about the environment and such, and the amount of pollution that cars put out. And what I did not realize, which I was kind of taken back, is that there is more pollution coming from your tires and your brake pads on a car than that's coming out of the exhaust pipe. There's more particulates going into the atmosphere that we are breathing in this matter into our lungs. And the concept, or the conversation, was that they were talking about combustible cars compared to electric cars. Well, electric cars use the same type of braking system. It's the only braking system we know about. So there's, so they're really putting out almost as much pollution from the vehicle itself. But we don't realize this, because it's all of this stuff and this materials have been in our lives, all of our lives.
Well, plus, electric cars, you can't recycle a lot of that stuff.
Right.
The battery, like what's left over. I mean, not to think even how that stuff is sourced, right? And how
exactly.
Yeah, that's where it begins. Yeah.
But then also, where does it go? it doesn't recycle. It doesn't just biodegrades. Like, where's it going to go? And how good is that going to be?
Correct.
Whereas like, I mean, it's the same as, butter and margarine, right? Like,
well, and you take that into, you go with those batteries, for example. So what's going to happen is they're going to be buried somewhere. Probably that's probably going to be what's going to happen, and then they're going to whatever degree they're going to degrade. So now you've actually polluted the land and possibly the water table around it, which is going to infect where we're growing the food, and how that food is going to grow, and what's going to happen to it on a DNA level. We just don't know. And it's so evasive around everyone that we have to be even extra careful about what environment that we're in, what food we're putting into our bodies. Our bodies can only, it's use the car analogy. A car will run only as good as the fuel that you're putting into it.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we all want to, not we all, but a good percentage of people are in a position too where that high quality, good quality food can be expensive. In their mind, it's expensive. It's really not, because you don't need as much of that food to sustain yourself as you do the processed food. But there's just that perception of, no, I can't afford to buy organic and all that stuff. It all costs money, and I need to save as much as I can. So I'm going to go with this cheaper stuff. And that's already pre-digested. There is no nutrients and vitamins and things like that in it. Most of it's been processed out, and it's just this vicious cycle that people need to be aware of. And without coming down on them as preachy, but it's just like, listen, you need to just start thinking a little bit more of, is that drive-through food, really that good? I know it's inexpensive. I know it tastes good because it's been chemically altered to make you. That's a science. You're just eating a science project right now. And there's a fast food place by my house. Actually, there's a fast food place by I think everyone's house. But the line is always out to the street.
Wow.
And
but
it's
I don't know how it is in America, but here you can actually shop around. Like, I mean, New Zealand cost was already crazy before, right? Like, New Zealand, we're so tiny, we're on an island, a lot of stuff is being shipped in. I mean, a block of cheese is like $17,
Wow.
Eggs, you pay more than $20 for them. And that's just normal. And usually now, you can go to the Saturday, farmer's market and buy your vegetables there. I get really good organic stuff for, for much less than I would spend at a shop. And I just get all my veggies there, and it's just $50, which is so much cheaper than, going to the normal shopping center. And then, just buy like, rice and more like, all dry stuff from the shop. But if you shop around a little bit and you just find out where you get those, deals, get those deals, get those discounts, you can still live very healthy. Here.
So that I think then leans into the topic of how living with abundant mindset. Because I think we want to emphasize that with our audience, that our focus is not on the lack that's out there or the dis-ease that's out there, but on the flip side of that, what's the abundance? So how do you bring that message across in the work that you do?
It's really reprogramming your mind, right? I mean, when you think about it, we are getting presented 11 million bits per second, but we only process 128 bits. So we are actually choosing the bits we are willing to see. So we keep focusing on, everything is going more expensive, everything is difficult. That's what we will be seeing, right? Because the brain will scan the 11 million bits and we'll just think, there's a bit I know, and there's a bit I know, and this seems familiar. But if one of my favorite mantras is that everything is perfect and I create my heaven on earth. Like that's like literally my mantra. And I believe it doesn't matter what happens in the world, what's going on. But because when you think about history, in any area, even when there were wars, there were people thriving at the time.
100%.
It's all mindset. And it's all what we're willing to focus on and where we're willing to go, you know. And one of my others, like, you know, I think we can do whatever we want. We just need to make sure it's ethical, you know, and it's in the highest good of all. And really just focusing on that and program your mind there to make sure your brain is scanning the 11 million bits to see how you get there, how you get to create more abundance and different avenues, you know. Here in the beginning, because New Zealand is quite pricey, houses, you know, like comparing, I come from Germany, right? Like my parents are Polish. I was born in Germany. My dad had a building company. So I was used in living in real good houses. You know, we had granite floors and floor heating. And in New Zealand, you see this old houses, like no insulation, no, you know, they have single glazing, no central heating. And then what, it's $1 million, you know, for what, you know, for this old, you know, and in some places, there's a lot of houses which are like mold infested, you know. I was like, shit, in Germany, you would have to rip that whole thing down, you know, that would be unbelievable that you can still, you know, they say, oh, that's all fine, you know, you be all right, you know, it's like the common saying here. When you focus on really, you know, what you want to create and what you want to build, you will find ways of getting there, you know, no matter where you are, no matter how challenging it seems, like, you know. And we start really going to op shops, you know, because there's so many people, they're just using something 1-2 times and then they're leaving it there, or people come from overseas and leaving things there, you know. And it's like, I got like the most amazing, beautiful things from an op shop, and I was like, shit, you know. I remember I bought this pair of Boss jeans for $2. Like, you know, I was like, $2, wait, Boss. You know? It really depends what you make out of it. And another really, I think, important thing, you know, when people look at something and think, oh, I can't afford that. That's not true. You are prioritizing other things right now. And that's why you're willing not to buy this. So rather than keep saying, I can't afford that, I can't afford that, to reprogram yourself. No, I'm choosing not to buy this right now because my priority is lying somewhere else. I'm saving to buy a house, or I'm, you know, I want to buy land, or I want to put money back into my business, or whatever it is, right? Like, focus on what it really is, what you're doing, and reframe yourself, you know, really redirect yourself. And I just recently listened to a song from another beautiful lady. She's doing, you know, money mindset. Alex Tripod, she has a song like, everything is always working out for me, you know, money loves me and I love money, everything is working out for me. Like, and it's like this whole song. And I was like, yeah, you need mantras like this and really saturate your brain. So rather than starting the day with news, listen to something like that. Like, you know, saturate your subconscious mind with empowering messages, with something which will help you to get where you want to go. And see where it will take you, because opportunities will come and things will just arrive, you know. I mean, I got this job because they offered me so much money, and I can do such a real difference, you know, where it's needed in community and in Western medicine. And then they gave me a 20,000 rise. Like, you know, it was unbelievable. Like, in healthcare, I've never seen anything like this, you know, but it's happening. And I think a big, you know, is like working on that mindset and also valuing yourself, you know. Is that making me feel more abundant? You know, what I do a lot of times, like I'm taking a piece of something and I'm holding it and I was like, will this help me to be more abundant, or will this take away from me? And follow that intuition, follow that feeling, and don't be afraid to say no to things. You know, if they don't feel, if the vibration is not what is meant to be with you right now, don't be afraid to say no. That's not what I want. I want to have things which expand me. I want to have more abundance. I want to feel vibrant, and you know, pick those things.
So when you are holding something in your hand, And how are you determining whether you feel that's going to make you more abundant or less abundant? Are you going to do you have a particular process that you're using when you do that?
Well, I hold it, or I just imagine myself using that very thing, and just really feel in my body how it would feel. Does it feel like, oh yeah, I can, the world is my oyster, I can go out there and I can change the world? Or is it more like, yeah, it's all right,
Mhm.
this deflating, just like where you feel your body is just hanging down, and just really feel, in that energy.
Mhm.
I remember I did it the first time when I bought a RAV4 Toyota, and it was 10 years ago. A little bit less than 10 years ago. But it was the first car I actually really wanted it. And I was test driving two cars. But when I was feeling into the RAV, it really felt like, oh yeah, this is going to be fun. This is going to be amazing, And hands down, this car never let me down. It
Mhm.
was, it wasn't a new car, but this car was so reliable. It was such a good car for until I sold it. It was amazing. And I think your intuition, because energy doesn't lie, right? And the vibration of things, you can feel it. That's why when you feel into them and you feel how it would be in the future timeline to have them, I bet you can feel if something would just keeps causing you issues, or if something is really adding and bringing good things to your life.
Mhm.
And yeah, I mean, I did the same with the Audi I have now, and best car, where I know some friends there, because Audi parts, because they're from Germany, is on the other side of the planet. It's quite full on if you need to change, because parts are so expensive here. My car, perfect, perfect all the way, and yeah, you just meet people, and it's been amazing. It's been really amazing.
Cool. Very,
Yeah,
very
and one of the things we teach in our signature program, the Infinity Process, is that so many people are stuck with the idea of abundance being one thing, money, right? Money in, money out type of thing. And we emphasize there's all kinds of different forms of abundance. And the five we focus on in the program is there's abundance of imagination. That there's an endless amount of that, and sort of focus on that as an abundance energy keeps you in that abundant mindset. There's an abundance of synchronicity that happens if you're tuned into and aware and open for it. There's an abundance of exchange and opportunities for exchange. There's an abundance of blessings that happen, and then there's also abundance of money. Right, so it's looking at all those pieces and yes, reprogramming, but also being open to and aware of those elements. And so I'm curious about, with your Abundant God Goddess Club, what's the philosophy or guiding principles that you have around that?
It's really about that you can have it all. You can attract whatever you want. And like you said, it comes in so many different facets. It's also an abundance of health, an abundance of relationships, like good, healthy relationships. Because, when you think about wealth, if you by yourself, you're not going far. You're going far with the team around you. You're going far with people, collaborations, connections. So there is a big emphasis around community and coming together, collaborating, and really creating this mindset of we going further together.
Yeah, and one of the other things we mentioned is that abundance is all there is.
Yeah,
it's all there is abundance. There is no non-abundance in anything. It's either abundance of lack or abundance of whatever it is you want. So there's an abundance in wherever you focus your energy, there's abundance in that.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And the thing is, whatever you focus on, you will see more of.
Absolutely.
Just think about
because there's an abundance.
Exactly. When you buy this new car, all of a sudden you see this car everywhere, right? Because it has been all along there. So there's really an abundance of everything. And there will always be an abundance of everything. So when we think about what's going on in the world, this whole around, oh, there's not going to be enough of this, there's not enough. I don't believe that's to be true, because on the end, everything what's on earth will be staying on earth. I mean, it's not just going to all disappear unless they're, making the whole thing explode, but it will be all still
there's
here.
an abundance of explosion. So again, it's what you focus on, right? So it's again, it's whatever you focus on will show up as your as what you experience for abundance, and it can be either on the side of pleasure and growth and evolution, or death, decay, and atrophy. Right? It's going to be in those
abundance
realms,
of
right?
both.
Yeah. And it's really up to us to start focusing on what we want to create, really start focusing on creating that heaven on earth, that beautiful, abundant garden, which gives us everything we need. And that earth will just feed us and, give us what we need to thrive, and know that you can have it all and you can create everything you want at any time. And just because you're not there right now, challenge yourself. What is it you need to do? What is it within you you have to shift to get there, And I remember when my journey started, and I do that with my clients as well, put Post-its up, I would change affirmation phrases to my passwords, where I knew I have to use this password a lot. So I would keep, I love myself, I love myself, I love myself, I have an app which puts a, notification up, I feel like a millionaire, and tells me all those things, like whatever I want to bring in, that's what it's telling me, and I can change it and add that, I want to feel more love. I want to feel more abundance. I want to have more fun, have more joy. And yeah, I do that. I mean, it is scientifically proven. Whatever you repeat over and over again, your brain and your subconscious mind will just believe. So it's up to us to change when we think, okay, I don't like what I'm experiencing here right now in my reality. What do you need to let go of, and what do you need to shift, right? What belief do you need to adopt to make that reality change for yourself? And go for it, don't waste time.
Yeah.
So when we think about abundance, and as Gary is saying, there's all different forms, and you're in the medical industry right now, and you have a nursing background, if I remember correctly. So how would you take the concept of abundance and apply that to health?
So, in a health setting, obviously what people lacking of is health, because otherwise they would be where they are. So focusing on health, really. I have some people I'm doing visualization exercise with them. We just recently did a little bit of breath with the staff. I would like to do a proper breathwork session, but I'm a little bit in a high-end retirement home, so I don't know how well all these would do on the floor and doing this intense transformational breath work. So, but I'm doing a lot with visualization, and I'm teaching around, I explain around NLP and how the brain works, how we process information. And, I have one particular lady there, she lost the ability to walk. So I gave her a visualization exercise to really visualize herself walking, and how she walks to the bathroom, and how she walks around, and how good she feels, and how she's really like upbeat and moving around. And then she made really good progress, and she was already on the walker and walking with the physio around my office, around the corner. And I was like, there you go, see, it's happening. It's not anymore about if you're going to walk, it's just about when are you going to walk, and then now she regressed a little bit, and I told her, like, look, this is the healing journey, right? It's not just up. You will crush sometimes, and sometimes you feel like you're going backwards, but we're not going backwards. We're going in a spiral, and the spiral is going upwards. But sometimes when we go back to where it feels like we're going backwards, we then go a little bit higher, and when I work with clients or also with patients or residents, I prepare them of that. I was like, look, even on this healing journey, it won't be all nice. It won't be all, oh my God, we're so abundant and life is great. Like, that's not how it is, right? It's life. We have amazing time, we have good times, and then we feel like shit, our whole world is falling apart. Yes, your world is falling apart so it can come back better together, because we're letting go of those old beliefs, those old constructs, those old foundations, and we need to destroy them. And when you see in the world what's happening right now, what we've known is crumbling. It's getting destroyed, but it has to be destroyed. How are you going to build a new foundation if we're keeping the old one? It will be all shaky and wacky if we're keeping it. We need to destroy what's there. I mean, it's like a full glass of water. If it's full and you keep putting new water in, how much new water are you going to have in there? You have to empty a little bit to put fresh water in, right? Mm-hmm. And that's what we have to do with people and with our beliefs, with what's going on. And yes, it's scary because the brain likes to hold on everything we know, because everything we don't know is freaking scary. And maybe we're getting killed in the process. I mean, that's what the brain thinks, right? Maybe we die if we do this, maybe we die, but just no, we're not going to die. We'll be fine. We will survive this, and we will survive anything, and just keep going and focus on what you want. What is the outcome you want to experience? And don't let fear hold you back, because each time we're making a decision out of fear, it's probably not a good one, except if a tiger is maybe following you and chasing you. Running is maybe a good idea. But, in other cases, it's probably not it, right? Like, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so what type of resistance do you get from a lot of your clients, especially in because you're in a, excuse me, if you're in a facility for retirements and stuff like that, they're pretty much set in their own ways. So you have decades and decades and decades of programming that they're just like, no, this is the way it is, this is the way it's been, I'm not going to change, I don't want this, I don't want to change at all. How do you deal with that? What kind of resistance do you go up against, if any?
Yeah, well, I think so far I haven't had that much. Well, yeah, there's some resistance, but more about inaction, and I see that everywhere. Like, I see that in the world in general. People would rather be handed over something quick and easy, like a pill, rather than changing your diet, changing your routine, changing your lifestyle. They want to have a quick, easy fix.
Right.
And I think sometimes it depends how bad people suffer, because if people suffer bad enough, they're more willing to do what it takes to get there. Mm-hmm. And I think what's important is to keep feeding those messages, and I even spoke to it's me and another boss. We are like the heads of the whole facility. And I said, like, I would like to put posters up with messaging. Like, I would really start saturating their subconscious mind with what I want them to believe, like, with those positive, encouraging, empowering messaging. And just keep feeding it into it, and really reframing and changing their perception. But there is some people there. They don't want to do anything. They don't want to change. And it's not up to me to make them change. I can tell them, look, this is the door. This is how you use the door. This is how you open the door. And now it's up to you to open it and walk through it. Mm-hmm. I cannot control what you're putting in your mouth. I cannot control what you're doing in the many hours when I'm not next to you. That's all up to you. I can only tell you what works. And what I have seen has brought great results to other people. And what you do with it, it's up to you. And, I have some discussions sometimes with some people, especially around food, because, there's so much, muffins and pastry and all of that stuff, which, it's really like a resort. And I think, well, it's awesome, right? I mean, I love being in a resort, but let's face it, when we're in a resort, we're all putting on weight, right? Like we're not the healthiest. It's like we're eating all that stuff because it's nice and it's tasty. But when you're living there, like, how much discipline would you have to kind of, and we're working on it, to kind of shift that a little bit. I would really, oh my God, what would I do for, seeing really healthy food in hospitals and health facilities in general. But I mean, a lot of times the food you get in a hospital, it's dead. It's literally dead. And there are policies which refrain, like people can't go to local markets or stuff because it has to be bought from, this one producer where, and it's not the best stuff sometimes you get from there, where it's like, why can we not shop around? Like, why can we not get it somewhere else? Because of policies, because of policies. And it's like, that's ridiculous, even from a business perspective, where it's like, well, we could do it so much cheaper doing it in a different way. I was even talking because, we have gardeners. I was like, can we create a food forest in the garden? We have gardeners anyway coming and doing food. Why don't we create a food forest? We would be the only retirement in all of New Zealand who has a food forest. And then I was like, well, we wouldn't be allowed
you could have all the residents take care of it because they'd love gardening.
Yeah.
I know, right? And there is a full independent.
And get their exercise and get their breathing and get their fresh air and,
and their positive, their negative ions. And for sure.
To be honest, part of me thinks like, I think I'm going to create my own little retirement home, where I'm going to do things the way I want, with it.
All right. So let me ask you this then. So getting back to, they're saying, well, it's policy. Have you ever questioned, well, why is it policy? Who created this policy? I mean, it constantly feels like a lot of regulations and policies and such are just steering people in the absolute wrong direction. And it seems to be, it's not just where you're at, it's prevalent. Yep. And I mean, because I'm one who just simply constantly is questioning, like, all right, that's a policy, great. Why is it a policy? Because a lot of times people who are enforcing a policy don't know. They're just like, well, because I was told to. It was handed down. I'm like, well, have you ever questioned why this is a policy? Why people have to eat this stuff that has no nutritional value in it, and as opposed to freshly grown apples and oranges and bananas and beans and peas and such. Where is this mindset coming from above that says, no, we want to do it this way? Is it just all dollars and cents? Is it somebody's benefiting more from buy my stuff only? How does that work? And have you delved into that at all?
Yeah, I mean, I did have some heated discussions about some of the things. And one thing is, there is a nutritionist overlooking the whole thing. But, it kind of depends, okay, what kind of nutritionist is it? Like,
exactly.
and, how it has, it's measured out. It has all the nutrients it needs to have. It needs to have this much of that and this much of this. And obviously in a place where I am, the focus is on people not losing weight because, there's a lot of people very skinny, fragile,
Sure.
So the focus is for people to keep on weight. So it's high in fat and high in, so they want to make sure. And to be honest, we do have lots of really, skinny people. They're coming from that angle, which I understand, but there is no one size fits all. And that's a little bit what I think is kind of missing in general in healthcare. And I mean, we have seen that, just recently when we went through the last few years, how that was handled. There is no medication which is good for everyone. There is no one size fits all. We are all so different. We all have so many different, our bodies are different. Our blood types are different. Our cultures are different. The way we grew up, the way we did things was different. So the way our, DNA and our whole, cell makeup and everything is so individualized. So how can we just pretend and how can we behave like one size fits all? I don't know where this is coming from, one size fits all. I mean, look at us. Are we all looking the same?
Yeah.
Are we all the
Yeah.
same size? Are we all the same height? No, we're not. So, you know, and I mean, it is a battle I'm having with, you know, I think I'm a little bit of a disruptor, you know, and I'm sure there's people that hate me for it.
Good.
But
Hold
yeah,
on.
I think so. You know, sometimes I think maybe I should just cook myself and bring something in. You know? It's like, here, I'm bringing some home cooked food, you know? Yeah, well, it's definitely still a conversation I'm having, you know, around that, and how much I can change and how much I can shift. And we have changed already quite a few things. And I think, well, like with anything, because I'm only there since a few months, it's lots of little 2 millimeter shifts.
Sure.
Because if you're doing too much at once, everyone is going to freak out, right? So 2 millimeter shifts, little shifts here, little shifts there, you know. So we introduced, you know, when I started, we introduced the fruit bowl, like, you know, like little things, you know, put here something, put there, you know. And I'm like, okay, let's create a little herb garden, you know. Let's
Yeah.
you know, let's have some
It's a gradient, right? It's a gradient until you get to the point where you can kind of tips the scale, and then it's easier. But in that initial gradient stage, you kind of feel like you're going against the grain, but you're just kind of, you're making that slight increase and improvement in those areas. That's awesome.
And that's all really been focusing on. And I must say, the company has been really amazing. It has been, hands down, it has been the nicest and best health facility I've ever worked at.
Yeah.
Like,
that's good.
And they're quite open for that holistic view, and they're quite encouraging also you know, to stand up against doctors if we don't think they do what we need to do, or if it's not in the best interest. Like, no, it has been a really amazing experience, and the residents are, you know, I mean, we have this priest there, and he's hilarious, you know. He's so open-minded and he's so worldly, and you know, he went around and he was like, Linda, this is your purpose here. Like, those people, they love you. You brought so much change here. You meant to be here. You cannot go anywhere else. You have to stay here. Like, you know, I was like, okay.
That's a good sign. So go ahead, Gary.
No, I just wanted to dive in something because we have like about 10 minutes left. I was interested in saying, so how does, because I know you in some of the stuff you do, how does sexual energy play a role in creating a life of abundance and fulfillment and health? Like how is that piece tied in? I mean, you know, just how is that integrated into what you do?
Well, when you think about our sexual energy, right, it is literally the energy of creation. We are creating human beings with us, right? Like, we're literally growing a human with that energy. And we can use that energy to infuse it into our manifestations, into our goals. So you can literally, like, when, you know, you are being close and intimate to your partner and you have something you want to manifest together, you can use that energy to kind of push that out. And while I had my children, you know, I really went deep into that topic because, you know, I was a very, you know, sexual and, you know, energetic person. And after my kids, it kind of all went away for a while there, you know, and I was like, shit, what happened to me, you know? And I would be one of those people. And and that's, you know, I got introduced into all this knowledge, you know. Back in the day, I did this course with Kim Anami, you know, how to be a well-fucked woman, you know, and really dove into it, and how to heal that part also, you know, because I think especially for women, when we go through birth, there's so much trauma down there, you know, for a lot of women, you know. I mean, I heard of those women which have orgasmic birth. Apparently they exist. I've never met anyone personally, but you know, that's not the reality for a lot of women. So really healing this part and really activating it, and consciously using that energy to infuse it into your goals and dreams, you know, and play with that energy. Because when you think about sexual energy, it's very playful. It's very, you know, it's very playful. It's like a dance, right? and it's so delicious, and just taking this energy and infusing it into your goals and into your dreams and putting it out in the universe. And then, okay, show me how we can do this even better, more exciting, and yeah, that's how I'm using it, and how, I'm teaching it with my clients. And there is a big focus also around healing shame and, negative energy and negative beliefs around sex. And because when you think about beliefs around money and sex, they're very similar. It's dirty, you should be ashamed. Oh, look at those rich people. There's this all. So, if people are very sexual, there's also there's a shaming going on, right? So there is a big emphasis on healing this as well. Like, there's nothing shameful around being sexual. There's nothing shameful of having tons of money and swimming in it. Like, there's nothing shameful about it, and really letting go of those negative associations, because that's what's keeping you stuck. That's what's keeping you poor, because your subconscious mind thinks like, oh, I don't want to be this filthy, disgusting person. So yeah, no, I'm not going to get rich. I'm not going to have fun. I'm not going to have sex. Like, that's what your subconscious mind is doing. It's going to repel everything and push it away because, well, you don't want to be that person, right? I was like, no, I do want to be that person. I so want to be that person.
So what are some of your, well, let's get, we are about 9 minutes left. Let's talk a little bit about your book, New Earth Leaders. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah. So
New Earth title.
It was the universe sent me that idea, create this book, New Earth Leaders, people, people who are on the front line, creating this new earth, following their instincts, following their guidance. And I have a friend, she's now in Australia, but she used to live in New Zealand, and she had a New Zealand publishing company. And I called her and I was like, hey, Kitty, I have this idea about this book, New Earth Leaders. And I'm thinking about, bringing some people in, everyone sharing their story about, creating that new earth, following their journey, what it really means to be a new earth leader. And I was like, okay, can I do it? Can I publish it over your company? How would it look like? What do I need to do? I had no idea. I knew nothing about publishing. I knew nothing about books. I'm not a big writer either. Like, I used to love to write poems, but I had the idea, and literally within an hour of a conversation, she kind of gave me a quick rundown what to do. And I ran with it. And within 48 hours, I had the first 2 people saying, yeah, I'm going to publish my story in your book. And I was like, okay, universe, this is happening. We're doing this book. And I met the most amazing people. There was one guy, really amazing. He was working in a normal job, 9 to 5. And then he became a game creator, and he implemented spiritual lessons and ideas into his game and into his how people upgrade in the levels. And then while he was creating and completely self-taught, he was also traveling Peru and, went with his partner and quite on the spiritual journey as well. And, he was just talking about his journey, how he went from being stuck in a 9 to 5 where he didn't really enjoy anything to following that calling to create that game. And while he was in Peru, all of a sudden it was raining, and the reception was really bad. How you're in the bush freaking trying to find out what's going on with my thing I published there, and all of a sudden so many people were playing the game, and then he had millions of people playing that game, and he was like, shit, I'm onto something here, and he talks about his story, how that came, and we have some, I have one lady, she talks about her journey, her cancer journey. She's a dentist, and quite spiritual, but talks also about medical, that whole journey and her journey. And so there's so many amazing people, everyday people telling their story, how they became their new earth leader in their life, and inspiring other people to do the same. Because that's what it all comes down to, right? Like just inspiring other people. And I really wanted that book to be like a little guide, and seeing the different stories. Or when one lady, she was pregnant, and their thought about, body measurements, how big she should be, and they were thinking about one size fits all again, right? Like, oh yeah, this is, and then, I think she's from Sri Lanka, and she was like, well, my mom looked like that and we were all fine. Is all your templates, are they all actually for people from my country, or are they just, general measurements? Anyway, she was very like a shy person, didn't like to speak up, and all of a sudden she put her hand out. She was like, no, we are not doing this like this. We're doing it like this. We're doing like this. This is what I want. This is my baby. I'm going to do it my way. And they did it her way, and turned out she was right, And actually the doctor then apologized, because like, yeah, maybe we need to change and update our charts, to different ranges. And it's really, everyday people sharing their story, stepping into their power, becoming the true version of themselves, and don't allowing anyone, not even people with authority, to let them waver of it, and really sticking to it and trusting that. And I share my story, how, I went through so many shitty relationships, and then, healed that part, and then found my partner eventually. And really amazing, because I think, it's like that, is it the 8-minute mile or 6-minute mile?
6.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. When we see multiple people doing it, we then think, maybe I can do it too. Mm-hmm. And that was really the goal. Have it like a little guide. Have it, little stories, inspiring other people to, yes, follow your instinct. Yes, go and start that business. Yes, go and leave that job. Say yes to what you truly want. And don't be afraid to say no if you don't think that actually that thing will make you happy, It's okay to leave a relationship. It's okay to leave a marriage. Like, follow your instinct, Not everything is meant to be forever in your life, and that's okay.
That's wonderful. That's so, and like you said, I mean, it does take just that one person to say, hey, this can be done. And everybody's like, well, no, everybody's told me that it can't be done. It's like, well, I did it. Oh, well, then maybe I can do it.
Yeah.
And and I think you just really struck on something. We can go for another hour now if you want. But it's because we see this movement that's happening, kind of relative, very much here in the States, and I think in Canada. But you have this movement of people who are saying, listen, you're putting me in this box of one size fits all, when I'm trying to tell you that I can't fit in that box. That's not for me. And and that's, I think, is what we're seeing. We're seeing these norms. People are like, well, you're going against the norm. It's like, well, who set that standard? And how many decades ago did they do that? Yeah. So maybe myself as an individual, just am not going to quite fit in that. Or maybe we need to expand the box, or just get rid of the box altogether. Part of one of our I think our strongest philosophy that we have, that it's not this or that, but it's this and that. You can have both sides. You can have, everything that you want. And to break past those barriers that have been put upon us by someone, something, society, whatever the case may be. And I think we're going to end with that. You want to give us your website where people can find you? This is your stage.
You can find me on Facebook, Linda Ho, also abundantmindset.biz. Or on Facebook, there's.
You've got a couple of groups on Facebook, right? You've got the Abundance Goddess Club for anyone who wants to join that, is right? That's a group. Yeah. I'll drop that link in there too. And then you've got Linda Ho Abundance Queen. Is that an active page, or?
I'm not sure.
Okay. All right. And then your profile. Okay, I'll drop it. I'll drop it in there.
I was like, where's the queen coming from?
It is you there, so I'm not sure.
Maybe it's a fan club. Maybe you have a fan club and you didn't know it. or a stalker. It could be both. You know,
Yeah, you
this
never
or
know,
that.
right?
I know there were some pages popping up, you know.
I put them all in the chat for those that want to connect up with her.
Yeah, look her up. She's got some great stuff there. And for all of you that have watched our shows, if you missed some of them, they're all available on our YouTube channel at Infinity Matrix. And take a look. There's all kinds. There's, I think, almost 300 videos there right now. So take a look. Linda, it's been such a pleasure to have you here. And again, I will put that, it is very early in the morning where you're at compared to us. And we really appreciate you taking that extra effort. And it's been a pleasure. If there's anything else we can do for you in the future, please reach out to me and or Gary, of course, and let us know if we can be of service. And that's it.
Yeah, we look forward to more collaborations for sure.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me here. It's been such a pleasure to have a morning with you guys and share wisdom. So thank you.
It's our pleasure.
Thank you. Be well.
Once we get everything processed, we'll send you the link, and you can put it on your page if you like. And as I said, anything else is coming up, you got another book coming, whatever, let us know. We're here for you.
Yes, thank you.
It's our pleasure.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone. We'll see you next week. Next week, we are back to our regular live stream, and we will see you there. The storm isn't coming. It's here. And most of us weren't ready for this onslaught of trials and tribulations we're currently facing. They require new concepts and new tactics to prepare you for what lies ahead. We want to show you how to unleash the full sum of your entrepreneurial potential, challenging all of your energy, harnessing all of your power into a force of unstoppable momentum. If your growth and continuing evolution of your life are of paramount importance to you, and if you genuinely aspire to make 2023 and beyond the most fulfilling of your life, then it's crucial to make the most of every opportunity that comes your way. We offer you a turning point in your life, in your career, propelling you towards the business success you've always dreamed of. Please, don't miss out on this chance to break free from the shackles of financial hardship. Don't lose this opportunity to elevate yourself to new heights of business mastery. Claim your free VIP ticket now. Get exclusive access to Gary and Ross and seize the $1,600 in bonuses that we've set aside for you. Do it before it's too late. So click on the registration link below and let us support you every step of the way on your journey beyond success.